Hello, everybody, and welcome to one of our last live Q&As for the Scrapbooking Fun Summit. I am Heather, and this is Tracy, and we are your co-hosts, and we are here with Pam.
Hi.
And we're talking about her cool skater card. I'm going to be singing Avril Lavigne, if you all know who Avril Lavigne is.
Yeah, I made like a clip with that.
Yes, you did. It was in there. Yeah, it's like, I'm going to be singing Andrew. I can't even say that today. And she's Canadian. She's Canadian, and she's not far from us where she grew up. So you should know that. But not that it was my music era, but I do know it. So welcome. Thank you all for joining us live. A few quick reminders. First of all, thank our sponsors for the summit. We can't do it without it. It really helps us to kick things off when we get sponsors. And thank you to our amazing speakers. But for our participants, if you're playing bingo, you have another 2 hours to submit your bingo card. So you got 3 ways to submit your bingo card. One is email it to Tracy. Number 2 is post it in the Facebook group. And number 3 is submit it in the form that we sent you this morning in your email so that we can get them by 5. And we need them by 5 because we got to count all these bingos. So remember, in your bingo card, you get entries for every bingo. Every bingo. And I think it's 12. We asked ChatGPT. Somebody asked, how do I use ChatGPT? That's how I use ChatGPT. What's the maximum amount of bingos in a bingo card? And I believe it was 12. So if you have an entire completed bingo card, that will give you 12 entries.
I'm just trying to figure out the
diagonals.
10, 11. I know. I'm just
5 times 5 plus 2.
And maybe 12 is in. I'm trying to think. The 12 is not the cube around the free
There's
space.
2 diagonals.
Or there's a full page.
Hey, there you go. Whatever it said, we'll use that. So definitely get your bingo cards in. And we are here with Pam, and we're going to chat with Pam, and then we'll see what comes out of our conversation like usual. I'm just going to flip the screens. And Pam, we have the easiest question for you to begin with. Where are you in the world?
I'm in southern New Jersey. So in the U.S., East Coast. Been here, raised here, in Jersey, not in Jersey, but like the East Coast. Never even left it.
You definitely have a Jersey accent when you say Jersey. So there you go. At least more than most.
No. I've only been here for like, 7 years maybe.
It's when you say the Jersey, that's where it comes out. That's where it comes out of Jersey, yes. Not that we have Canadian accents, not that we hear it ourselves either.
Yeah, so. I don't even hear that.
I lived in Australia for 2 years, and only at the end of 2 years could I start to hear a Canadian accent. Like I could tell which coast somebody lived on based on their accent, but before that, I wouldn't have been able to hear it. So yeah, it's amazing what our ears learn. Are you a card maker, paper crafter, all-around crafter? Where would you put yourself?
I'm mainly a paper crafter, card maker. Card making is my favorite. My craft room is full of paper crafting supplies, but I do have a closet over there that has a mishmash of like other things like crochet and wax seals and things like that. A lot of things I can incorporate into card making, but I've dabbled in different things here and there over the years.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And what got you started in the card making world?
For card making, I used to be involved in this SwapBot program that you could swap paper crafts, or not just paper crafts, but swap packages with people from all over the world. And sometimes they had challenges. So one of them was card making. So I had to make a card, and I went to like one of those big box stores like Joann's or Michael's and got a clear stamp set, which I'd never used before. And I created my first card, and I sent it, and I got some in return, and I fell in love. I had already done paper crafting with like scrapbooking and stuff, so I had some stuff on hand. But once I did that, I was like, okay, I love this. And then I just never went back.
And you became maybe a little addicted?
Yeah, just a little. A little bit too much stuff in here.
That's okay. One question we're asking all our speakers, which is kind of new, and the answers have been really cool, which is, what's something you had to conquer in your paper crafting journey?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, you thinking like conquer on how to do something or conquer just in general?
Whatever comes to mind. We've had everything. We've had many different answers.
So when I think of conquering something when it comes to crafting and paper crafting, card making, it's learning to not buy all the things. That's my biggest issue, and I'm still trying to conquer that. But that's why I've had this focus on my blog and my YouTube channel recently, which is Crafter Stash. So I'm using programs like what is it called? Color My Life. I have like physical inventory binders, things like that to keep track of what I have and help me to use the things that I have rather than just saying, "Oh, I like that project. I'm going to make it just like that." But I need those supplies. Like I'm trying to see what I have that I can incorporate instead of buying the exact supplies to make a project.
It's an awesome, and you're not the only one. Our first one was someone had to conquer their paper buying journey. We've had other answers like how I had to conquer confidence. I had to conquer. There's been another one was finding my own style, getting rid of perfectionism. So there's some themes in and using your stash is definitely one that we've had more than once of. It's how do we conquer this and how do we do that? So
I think my addiction is stamps, so I've just tried not to buy all of them.
That's okay. It's hard not to watch somebody then want to buy it all. Yes, that's exactly it. It is hard to do that. Can you share a little bit about your project? Because I think it's really cool, your project that you did.
So I put together this little slider card, and I'll bring it up a little closer, but it's a little dog, and he's skating on the road by the beach. So I used some Tailored Expressions products to make the little dog and the little bird, which is Gus and Gertie. And then I used Lawn Fawn dyes to come up with the interactive part and the road scene, and Distress inks to make the background. And it's just, I love making interactive cards. I love having something that the recipient can kind of play with when they have the card in hand. That's not just like, oh, let's just open the card. I love like some type of interaction. So I thought that was something kind of simple that I could go over easily in a presentation to share with you guys. And I know for my VIPs, I created that handout, Scene Building Made Simple, which is like full of like all my favorite scene making dies, embossing folders, stencils, all those types of things. I think there may be some interactive stuff in there as well. But anything to do with interaction or scene making, that's like my favorite thing to do with cards.
That's awesome. And you've done some really creative cards for us in the past, where you did one where you did a Valentine's Day card using Christmas stuff. And then you've done, you did a Father's Day card in the past as well. So you've done a lot of really cool cards for us in the past.
Yeah, I'm kind of all over the place.
All over the place is good.
That's
good. So I'm just going to flop through some of the comments, which is, hello, everybody. What an adorable and fun card, Pam.
Thank you, Joyce.
Wow, the 4 days have gone fast and have been awesome. Thank you, Joyce. And yes, it has gone fast. It does. A lot of work to get to the 4 days, and then they kind of fly away, and you're like, whoa, that's done. So it's a lot of fun. How do you come up with your ideas?
Basically just real life, like things I see happen. I like my cards to tell stories. So it can just be an interaction with somebody. It could be something I saw on TV. It could be in Pinterest. I really just take ideas from everywhere. And I love creating stories like as if like my card is like a little picture, a page on a picture book. So like you kind of have to like look at what they're doing to kind of put in your head like, oh, this is what's going on in the scene. So it's kind of doing it without words instead of words like a picture book.
I love what you just said, and that's why I was just sorry. I was moving my paper there to get on the other side to write this down. I like my cards to tell stories. I really like that line.
Yeah,
it's very nice, and I've not heard somebody say it like that.
But I can see that in the cards I've seen you make for us.
Yeah.
Versus some cards that are more different. Yours, I can see where you have that scene and you're telling a story, and all of the ones you've done for us, it comes across.
I can see it.
That's awesome. Here's something to put an earworm in you. He's a skater boy. She said later boy. It's going to be stuck, your Avril Lavigne song in your head.
Yes. I know, like I had to put that song on my little reel that I had on my Instagram. I was like, it's just so appropriate. That's during my time too. So
where do you find the most rewarding part of card making? What do you find, the most rewarding part?
For me, it's really just being able to make somebody happy, cheer them up, let them know I'm thinking about them. I have a few people, like I have my uncle that, I don't see very often. I have my friend that lives back in Maryland where I grew up, and they tell me how they look forward to my cards, whether it's birthdays, Christmas. And my one friend, he says how he actually saves all of them in a box. And so it's just like, that's what brings me joy, to keep making cards for them and everybody else I make them for.
That's awesome.
And you just mentioned, you said your uncle, and I know you mentioned, some other people, but then you said a friend and he keeps them in a box. That's 2 men.
Yes.
That love your cards.
Yes.
That's neat to hear.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I was surprised when I heard that. I was like, oh, I didn't know you guys like really appreciated them like that. Okay, cool. So now I try to make them extra special when I send them cards.
And that's great too, which is wonderful.
Yeah. Very supportive.
Love the interactive cards. They are my favorite. So someone else who loves them. What are some other things you can use to create the slider mechanism?
So for my card, I think I used that little piece of plastic that you can get from, it was My Favorite Things, maybe. But I know that Taylor Expressions, they have little clear slider discs that you can use. You can also use foam tape. Like if you use like a little foam square, you can take off the adhesive on the side of the foam tape to make sure it doesn't stick. You can do that. You can use a penny. A lot of people used to use pennies for sliders. So there's a bunch of different things. You can look in your stash and find something.
Has inflation gone up and you need to use a dime now instead of a penny? Have we moved?
Right here in Canada, there's no pennies. We have to go for the nickel.
We don't have pennies anymore. So yeah,
but yes,
nickel's too big, so you'd go for a dime. But we don't. I don't know that's true. You still have pennies in the U.S. We got rid of pennies, so we don't have pennies anymore.
Oh, really? Oh,
they exist. Old pennies exist, but there is no new pennies, and you can't pay with a penny.
Okay.
So you can pay with them if you have them, but grocery stores won't give you an exchange for pennies. So they either round up or round down.
And this happened when we go to the States and it's, whatever, 15.22, and I give them 15.20 and they're waiting for pennies. I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, one moment. Forget, right? Because
well, then you save a few cents here and there then.
If it's to a credit card, it's exact.
Yeah.
If it's to like a credit card or from your bank cards, it's exact. But if it's cash, they round down or up. So sometimes you save and sometimes you pay more. So it's kind of funny. But yeah, we got rid of them about 5 or 6 years, maybe 10 years ago now.
Oh,
so
yeah, it might be.
You don't think about them, but a lot of people kept their pennies and use them for art and stuff like that. But
yeah, definitely, I can see that.
We can do that. What can I use if I don't have alcohol markers? Colored pencils.
I mean, really, for coloring, you can use anything. Like you use colored pencils. For coloring your images, like Prismacolor pencils, and then they have that I forget what that fluid is called that you can use with it that helps with blending, the Gamsol.
Yeah.
So you could do that. I mean, alcohol markers are my favorite just because of their blendability and the way that you get a smooth transition from one color to the next. Like some other markers, like well-known Crayola and stuff, you're going to see streak marks and stuff like that. So with alcohol markers, you're not going to get that. So that's why I prefer using them.
You could use acrylic paints, I would assume. You could use
any medium. You can really use any color medium.
Yeah, in color pencils, you can actually buy a blending tool, which I use a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So you can use blending, or you can use an alcohol thinner to blend with a Q-tip. I've done that as well. Like with what you would use to try and think of what it is. What you would use to blend your paints, you can use that and just use it to varnish as well.
Okay.
I've done that, but I have a varnishing tool, which makes it just as easy. And you can get that from Prismacolor. It's called a blending tool. So you can do that with your color pencils. But we were talking about color pencils earlier because I use color pencils. Quality makes a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you use Durwat's watercolor pencils, you can get really bright colors out of that by just putting a little bit of water on them.
That's another one, watercolor pencils.
There is lots out there. Like your
yeah.
Do you give away all your cards or do you keep any?
Good question. I have hundreds in my closet right now. I'm saving them for a rainy day. I don't know. I just can't get them out of the house as quickly as I make them. The Christmas cards are probably what goes out the most. The birthday cards go out the most. I've done some craft fairs in the past. I'm thinking about doing some in the future just to kind of lighten my stash a little bit. I have an Etsy page. I sell some of them on Etsy. And sometimes I just keep them around just to look at.
Which is good too. We have some people who make a lot of cards and they'll bundle them together and take them to a retirement home as a gift for them to send out because they aren't able to go to stores and stuff like that. So they'll bundle them as a gift to the retirement home, and then somebody in the retirement home can use them to send out to their loved ones.
That's a great idea.
I was going to say box them up, I should say, give them to your uncle as a Christmas gift or something to give out, since he obviously appreciates it.
He would love that.
Right?
Yeah, so the other one is put them together and give, because I would love, as somebody who doesn't make cards yet.
Yeah.
I would getting a box of already made cards that somebody else has done, I think is an amazing gift. So it's not just sending them, but boxing them. So we can help clean out your closet with ideas of where you can send them.
Great. I'll be confiding.
Clear out your space, you can make more. Okay.
Exactly.
The retirement homes, just having, my parents were in a retirement home, so I have a bit of a heart to that because they can't get out to get stuff, and some people's families don't come and see them. Like I went every single day, but there's lots of people in the retirement homes who don't have family support. So, that's something that they can use to send out to people. So, for those of you who make cards when you have a lot of extra cards, that's a wonderful thing to do, to give them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a challenge for you. Somebody said they've made a slider card, but not one that will move by its own weight. Have to practice that technique. So Ruth is still with us. What time is it, Ruth? Ruth is in Europe or UK. She's in the UK. I cringe at the thought of somebody keeping my cards for longer than a week or so. Why? Why would you cringe?
I wouldn't know that. I literally have greeting cards from like my entire life. Like I've always just kept cards, and I don't know, maybe it's the memories. Like I've had some people that have passed and they signed the cards, and that just makes it a really nice memento for me to hang on to.
You and me both. Yes. I have a whole box over there with cards that are given to me. I can't throw them out.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting one. I give thank you notes to a lot of people like doctors and lawyers, and men get emotional and appreciate it.
Oh,
that's a neat idea. I would never have thought of giving one to my doctor or a lawyer or something like that.
Oh yeah. I think I gave one to my real estate agent. I gave one to the person whose house I bought. I'll give them for any reason.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but that's actually a really cool idea. Not thought of that.
Yeah.
Even whether you make cards or not.
Yeah.
This one says, no, save the pennies. Yes, we save our pennies. I have a basement full of pennies because my father saved them and I don't know what to do with them.
I think Susan is also saying that because I believe that somebody and I had heard this. I believe that in the States that the pennies are going to be done with next year or something like that too.
Oh, wow.
No, she said phasing them out. You're right. Yeah. I have a good question. I was wondering the same thing, but I have no idea what that was referring to. All those pennies add up. They do add up.
Yeah.
Okay, here. What is the best description for the slider disc? Is that what they are calling it if you were purchasing it elsewhere? What would you call the slider disc?
Yeah, probably slider disc or yeah, I think so. Just slider.
Purchasing it elsewhere.
Well, what do they call them, Tracy, if you're looking for them as a supply?
Because I'm trying to think, like years ago, it was Nellie's Choice. It was a European company. I think it was them. And they made something. But what did they call it? I'm just, again, you might Google or ChatGPT how to make a
Yeah.
slider card, what to use, and maybe see what comes up as terms to look for, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, because I think I used the My Favorite Things one, and they have 2 kinds, but they call them both replenishments, which is interesting. It's not what I would first think to search,
For
but
no.
anywhere else, I've seen, like, them called slider discs.
Yeah, so it's good to know. We'll look up, see if you know other names, people, please type them in. Have you ever tried other alcohol markers other than Copics?
I have a few. I forget the brand names because I haven't used them in a while. The reason I gear towards, or lean towards, Copics is just because of the brush nibs on them, and, I use the fine tip nibs. I replaced all my broad tips with fine tip. I don't know much about the other ones. I just started collecting Copics over time because, um, once I got the hang of them and was signing up for classes and stuff, those were the markers that they would refer to. So as I was taking classes, I would get the exact Copic markers that they would use
Mhm.
and just kind of build up a small collection and just haven't really seen a reason to go elsewhere.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
What do you charge for an interactive card? Do you sell your cards?
Honestly, for my cards, I would charge like $8 or $10 a card, but then again, they're only worth what someone would buy them for. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I could sit there and say they're $10, but if no one buys it, it's worth $0.
Yes. But the
Which
Hallmark
means
cards around here, some of them are getting to that value, so yours are worth
yeah,
at least that. So,
yeah. I saw a good idea. Someone, I forget where I saw it, but they were charging like 20 cards for $20. And I'm like, it seems very cheap, $1 a card,
um,
but it's like then you get out $20 right there in one sale.
yeah, it's all balancing and figuring out how you want to package it and
Yep.
standing in your own value, really.
Mhm.
Out of curiosity, Tracy, do you know what Sue? We have a friend who sells cards and sells them in
Yeah.
shops. What does she charge for cards? Do you know? Nope.
I'm gonna say at least $5. We're talking Canadian, at least $5. It could be like 5 to 8. And her cards are not as, I'm gonna say, as intricate as, like, it wouldn't have a slider. It wouldn't. I
Yeah,
know that.
yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
And
I
she
have
sells
other
those online.
clients.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have some clients who may charge you $20 a card, but they're gonna have a lot of stuff in there, right? Like it's,
Mhm.
yeah, plus they're just after a different clientele,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just
you
it
know?
depends on your
Shop.
market.
And I
It
always say
does.
that in my business hat. Like you
Yeah.
can, some people love a McDonald's price thing, some people love an Olive Garden thing, and some people will pay 5 stars. I did this for my own business hat. I did it and I researched a candle. So you can pay $2 for a candle at the dollar store. You can pay
Mhm.
probably a bit more at Walmart, or you can go to Fifth Avenue Saks and pay $2,000 for a candle. But all of the candles do one thing: they give you light and they might smell, right?
Yeah.
And then they
Mhm.
give you a piece of art or whatever. But even the Fifth Avenue Saks one that I looked up was not that pretty.
Yeah.
But somebody will buy that Fifth Avenue Saks $2,000 candle. And so there's
Mhm.
always a market for your price. It's just finding the market, right?
Right,
And where you're going to
exactly.
sell it. If you have a card and you're selling it at a craft fair or versus having it in a 5-star craft, what am I thinking? Tourist trap, right? You're going to get different values for it. It's true. And that's, the reality of it is there's always somebody for every price. So
Mhm.
this one's a
Yeah,
neat one. Cards for Soldiers is a great organization to
yeah.
donate cards to.
Yes. Yeah.
I
And
thought there
then
there was one called Operation Right Home a while ago. I don't
yeah,
think they don't do it
there's
anymore,
Cards
but
for Kindness.
mhm.
And that's it. There's so many places that will gladly take them and use them. So now getting rid of them, okay, or giving them away is not always as easy, right, Pam?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's okay.
yeah.
So here's a great question. Do you know where I can get figure people that are different occupations, like a doctor? I would like to make a card for my doctor who's retiring. Either of you, Tracy might know.
Um, I a lot of my, like, critters and stuff I get from, like, Lawn Fawn or Tailored Expressions. Um, there's a lot of companies that do little critters, Mama Elephant, and they do them for, like, different occupations. Those are just the top ones that I can think offhand.
And Tracy, do
No,
you know
I
any
think
others?
I think you've named a like the good chances of them because again, things come
Yeah.
in phases. And I'm
Yeah.
going to say doctors are not the phase at the moment, right? It's true. It's not like what's in style in a sense, right? But like you said, because tailored expression, I want to say years ago might have even had something, but
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
Because I remember getting the police and stuff like that, a few things from them. And did you say my favorite things? Maybe. Mm,
They
I don't.
have, yeah, they have like those people. They do the
Yeah,
people
and that's
stamp.
it. You're going to have to look for a lot of those, like the type of stamps that Pam likes, like the
Yeah.
characters, the people, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've not necessarily seen.
I
How
say
much you
if
want to
you
bet?
just like go
Heather's
to
on
Google
ChatGPT right
and
now. I
search.
bet you. She,
Yeah, just go Google and search like
I'm actually doing ChatGPT versus Google. Who makes scrap
oh, I
paper
know you
making stamps for about doctors and perfect.
I know I used one mama elephant set for a surgeon that we worked with for my daughter. I didn't make the doctor, but I made like the little patient, but she had like doctor things.
So here you go. Altenew does professional theme stamps.
Mm.
I
My
would
favorite
never have
thing,
thought them.
they offers a healthcare heroes stamp set, Altenew. So this is what ChatGPT is good for because I don't have to look; it looks for me. May not be right. Again, you want to go check. My favorite things: doctor orders clear stamps. So includes male and female doctors, nurses, images plus sentiments like "Thanks, docs, feeling better." Doctor's orders, released in 2019, so maybe not around still. Panda Hall has them. Rubber self stamping.
Wait,
Rubber
I'm just thinking
hedgehog.
about Whimsy's stamps. Do they have something still? Because they've had, I don't know.
Yeah, they would have stuff like that.
Actually, I'm
too.
going to switch this just to show you what you can do.
I'm gonna go to
What dog
Whimsy.
keeps driving me nuts. There we go. So what it did for me, and I just actually, it gave me a whole table of the
Nice.
different companies that can do it. So I'll do my Panda Hall, Rubber Hedgehog,
That
Walmart.
tells you the exact names.
Yeah, it gives you the exact names and what you want to look for as well. And then, yeah, so it gives you different ones. So that's what you can use ChatGPT to find stuff for you.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and Whimsy
I
stamps,
ask
I'm
you
just looking
everything.
on their site. They have digital stamps, but they have some dies. Not of the actual doctor, but I cannot say this word, stethoscope. I
Stethoscope.
think I said it.
Okay.
It's always hard for me to say that word, pronounce it. Yeah, so they actually have a few items.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Okay,
exactly.
so
And I didn't ask for dyes, so I can ask for dyes too. But
yeah, no, I just went onto Whimsy sites going, would they have something? Because they have some of these, you
yeah,
know, different types of stamps as well. So
so
yeah.
Altenew has them. So yeah, so that's one way to find them. Whoever asked that question is just ask Chat and go and check and see.
Mhm.
Sometimes it will, because ChatGPT looks back in history, it will might find something that's no longer available because it kind of scan, like if somebody never took their page down, it's still there for them to access. It might find something like that, but generally,
W
somebody
plus
said,
9 has one called Get Well Gang. That's in my
there you
stash.
go. So there you go.
Yeah, and seeing get well is different in a sense because those you can sometimes find, but easier than a thank you to, especially to a doctor, right?
Yeah,
Because that
this
is
one has like a little dog dressed up like a doctor. It's pretty
different.
cute.
Oh,
From the
what
slider, somebody said we could use a button. Somebody also
Yes.
said,
I don't see
Yeah.
why not. Especially if it's more like flat without the ridge.
Yeah.
somebody said they were at Dollar Tree and they found penny-sized plastic pieces in the teacher area called counters.
Yes,
That could work
you
too.
could definitely use those.
See, what about now because that got my mind. I'm thinking of the old just the little chips we would use, like plastic chips in some games, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you go to a garage sale, take those. I don't want the board game anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So someone named Sandy Alnook, who obviously does color, has a conversion chart for other alcohol markers to the Copics. So there you go. You can Google
Yes. Yes.
that. Someone here sells cards in Fine Art Gallery. They sell for $10 to $15. So yeah.
Oh, and I was gonna say, as far as matching the colors too, I gave you guys that Copic coloring guide. So I have a picture of all the color markers I use to help you kind of swatch what markers you might have to the markers that I use
Great
if
too.
you want to get the same colors.
Here's an interesting question. If you don't want to have an Etsy shop, where would you sell your homemade cards?
Probably craft fairs.
Craft fairs? What Tracy and our friend has done is she's gone to local stores that are more, I don't know what the word to call them. You know, the stores that sell more than one thing. They're
Yeah, like a
they're
I know
artsy
what you're
stores.
trying to say, like a
They're kind of like artsy local shops that might sell gift stores, gift stuff and things like that. And she's asked, and she has them in a shoe store. She has them. So she's gone to relationships that she's created and said, I have these beautiful cards. Can I sell them? And, you know, so yes, you're giving part of your profit to the store. So you have to price appropriately, but she's been able to do quite well with that.
Yeah.
And
So,
also often with that, because I know I've got several clients who will have them in some gift shops or some, travel areas and stuff like that. But then you're giving your cards, it's kind of like on consignment or whatever. If they sell, then you'll get paid. It's not, most places won't say, okay, I'll buy that whole stack of cards from you and put them for sale. So you
It's
just
just
have to
fun.
remember things like that, but it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to have some of mine in my sister-in-law's bakery. So people would buy the cards while they're buying baked goods for people.
Makes sense.
Exactly.
Be meaning to ask, are A2 size cards the size that shops usually sell in the US?
Yes.
In the UK, they would be very small cards and certainly not a typical size, or mini price postage is for a larger card.
I feel like the cards in the US were almost like 5x7. I don't know, 4x6.
You just did A2 is a 4.25 by, like it's basically your half of the 8.5 by 11.
Yeah, it's 4.25 by 5.5. But I feel like that's when making cards. I feel like a lot of the ones you see in shops, like Hallmark cards, might be like 5x7 or something.
Yeah, that could be. Sorry, in the UK,
I don't know.
that would be very.
So there is Whimsy Stamp does have 2 doctors. This one is the birthday party project takes birthday cards, party decors, and small presents for kids. Yeah, there's lots of places to get rid of your addiction, ladies. My favorite thing, stamp dissect called. Oh, so My Favorite Things has one.
I had a feeling.
Bedside Manner is a good for one doctor. I think Riley & Co. has dressed up for their stamps with many occupations.
Oh, yeah. Riley & Co.
Doodlebug has some. Ruth wasn't looking at the screen. Okay, that question's gone. I'm reading through. Art Impressions has Proud Nurses set.
Oh, that's nice.
Who was looking for that?
Just thinking of Al and Create, would they have something? Sorry.
Yeah. So for the nursing, we're finding them. There's lots out there. And that's the fun part about bringing together a group like this, is that you have people who will know, right? Who've looked for them and seen them and found them. And I think it's such a great thing to give. Like, I have lots of friends who are nurses and they would love the appreciation.
Oh, absolutely.
So one of those occupations that sometimes doesn't get enough thank yous. So they would love that. But those are great questions, and what you have and what you do. Oh, we got an echo again. I was going to ask you a question. It went in and out of my head. It'll come back. What's something you'd like to learn that you're not doing in your card making right now?
One thing I'm trying to learn is alcohol inks, and another thing I'd like to learn and at least try, because I haven't even tried it, is like the Glimmer hot foil machine. So I haven't gotten one of those and done that yet. I've done like regular foil, but I haven't done the Glimmer hot foil one.
Okay. And just to throw something at you, what about the better press?
So I like the better press. I think it you can make some really cool professional cards. I usually like fun and whimsical type cards. So I mean, that's probably why I haven't even tried the Glimmer hot foil machine, because if I use foiling, it's kind of in some non-professional way, and I feel like those machines are going to give you some really elegant card results, and not really what I do normally.
Okay.
But if I would want to make invitations and stuff like that, yeah, you betcha.
And your cards are very fun and whimsical, and your scene thing kind of thing.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people. See, I don't even know because I don't do this stuff. We have a lot of people who like the inks in our circle.
Yeah.
So there's lots of people who love inks and using inks, and particularly Lisa Horton inks. are very popular.
Oh yeah, I've heard of those. I haven't had a chance to try them yet, though.
I don't know if Sandy is here, or sorry, not Sandy doesn't use them. Shelly, but I think Suzette was here. We have a few people in our group who just love Lisa Horton links. Whatever it's called, somebody will correct me. There's one that's a different color depending on the color of the paper you use.
Yes. It's almost like a chameleon type of ink.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's got some new inks coming out, which she discovered. She's shared with us in the past. She kind of discovered them by accident. Tried this and then went, oh, can we make this? And talking to her ink doctor, her ink creator. And they came up with different concepts. And she has a hard time keeping them in stock. They're very popular.
No, I think I've heard that, though.
Yeah. So they're very popular cards in the U.S. We've got size cards talking about there. Any other questions or comments for Pam while we chat here? See what comes through. But what's your next card project? What are you going to do when you hang up from us? What are you going to make while your daughter's sleeping?
I'm probably going to take a nap, to be honest. But I've joined a bunch of design teams this past year, so I have a bunch of design team projects on my to-do list to do. I might organize a little bit. And while I've got you guys on here, I do want to mention the giveaways that I have going on. There's a giveaway for Tail Expressions and Lawn Fawn on my blog. And if you signed up to get one of the freebies, whether it was the Copic coloring guide or the VIP package freebie, at the email that you get all the way at the bottom, there's information about giveaways to those 2 gift cards that I have up for grabs. So just make sure you guys check that out, because I already have like 15 people that have responded so far.
So scroll down in your email, enter her thing. You said you were going to draw them Monday night?
Yeah, Monday night. So tomorrow night.
Excellent.
Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to mention that before I forgot. I almost did. But
I just got distracted by our fire truck going by. I'm like, okay.
I live on a
circle. Well, no, it didn't have its lights going and it went around, so I don't know what it's doing here. I live on a circle. So there's no reason for a fire truck to be here unless there's a reason for a fire truck to be here. But he left without his lights on and I hadn't heard any sirens, so nothing big, I hope. Sandy's entered the giveaway. Well, there you go, Sandy.
Good,
maybe we shouldn't tell anybody else about it. So Sandy,
right?
All good.
I know those people that have entered have a very good chance of winning right now.
Okay, so more people may come in. I mean, like I said, we have a big contingency of Australians who will come on later on today. And whether they can use it, I don't know. That whole thing.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think it's international.
Yes.
We'll say second fire truck has gone by. I don't know what's going on. They must be leaving though, because there's like no lights on.
Yeah.
Someone's hairdresser has homemade cards in her shop. So there you go.
Makes sense.
There's just so many places you can approach to say, hey, can we try it? And you think about places that do make sense, right? And that doesn't have to be who you think it is. So try different things, but it's cool. Lots of really good ideas come out of this. Are you enjoying designing for designers?
I am. Yeah. I've been getting to try like different products, which is pretty awesome. And it's really kind of challenged my card making. Like it's seen stuff that I might not normally like pick, but then like I get that challenge to use it and like I come up with something that I'm like, why wouldn't I have thought of that otherwise? Like, so I'm loving the challenge of trying new things.
And that's been a common theme for the people we've talked to who have to do it for work. And they're like, oh, I didn't know I've been given something I wouldn't normally use. And then they find that it actually is a nice, fun challenge for them.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
It is always good.
I'm very fortunate.
A little. With that in mind, like, so let's say, because you designed for Lawn Fawn, correct?
I designed for, what is it? It's, right now, everything is escaping my head because I'm tired. But I'm on the design team for Pajama Cracker Stamps. That's the newest one. And then the other one is, because I can't think right now, Love from Lizzie.
There you go.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, sorry. I was just curious with like, say, because you were with Lawn Fawn before, right? And what I'm trying to
Yeah.
ask is, let's say I've seen the new Lawn Fawn stuff coming out, but I have a date of when I'm not allowed to show the clients, before a certain date. But
Yes.
I'm going like the designers of like the cards and that, you must have had to see their new lines, like, I don't know, a couple months or a month before at least to come out with the designs, right? The ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. At least like a
I'm
month
just curious
ahead.
how that kind of works.
Yeah, yeah. With the design teams I'm on, like usually at least like a month or two ahead, they send us the products. We don't get any ideas of how to use the products. They're just like, here you go. This is what you got. And so we have to like
Okay.
from scratch come up with something. And those are all the inspiration pictures that you guys get to see when you're
Mm,
purchasing products.
yeah,
So sometimes it really is a challenge because like you don't have anyone else's idea to base off of. You're just really just coming
okay.
up with it on your own.
Well,
Very
yeah, and that's a good point too, right?
Hmm.
That you have nobody else to base it on. I like that.
Right.
cool.
Yep.
Oh, very neat.
Well, makes sense too
Thank
because
you.
they need stuff to sell it. So yeah, very
Yeah.
cool. Good
Mhm.
question.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
question. Well, thank you. I don't see any more new comments in here.
No.
So thank you so much for being. Whoa, big echo all of a sudden. Tracy's computer on and off creates echoes. We haven't figured out why. Thank you so much for being part of the summit.
Sorry.
Thank you so much for coming in and being part of the summit. We love having you back again.
Thank
And
you.
your card was very cute, as they always are.
Thank
And
you.
for those listening, we have one more live Q&A, and then we have our wrap up at 7 o'clock. So we have a live Q&A in 15 minutes with Naomi, who's new to our summit. So we'd love to chat with her. And then we are back at 7 p.m. for our wrap up and our bingo draw. So make sure you submit your bingo card. You have 3 ways to submit it. Post it in the Facebook group, send it to Tracy, or put it in the form so that we can count and figure out how many entries you get per your bingos. And then we have some fun draws. So come and join us for the wrap up at 7. And thank you all for being here. If you're listening to the replay, thank you for listening to the replay. There's been lots of people watching the replays. Naomi is great, so I'm sure she is, and we're excited to speak with her. And thank you again, Pam, for being part of our summit.
Absolutely. No problem. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.